What are three things that I do not enjoy so much about life in China? Life in China has a lot of nice things, a lot of advantages, but there's also some things, of course, that are not so nice. Now, I'm not saying that any country is perfect or any country has no disadvantages at all. But let's talk about what makes life as a foreigner here in China more difficult. Now, before we start, I want to ask you, are you experienced in working, living or staying in China? What is your opinion on life here? What do you think are the most important points that make life for foreigners difficult or uncomfortable here? Let me know in the comments below. I want to welcome y'all to today's video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark. I am from Mark's Adventures and I am in beautiful Chengdu, People's Republic of China. What a beautiful day, taking a walk by the river. Temperatures are rising here in China. It's expected to go up to 40 and beyond degrees these days. So it's really hot. Now, I have made a video about the three things that I do like, that I do enjoy about my life in China. And many of you said, this guy is only talking about the good things. Obviously, there's a lot of bad things. Why you don't talk about them? So in the last video, the focus was on the positive things. And today, let's talk about a couple of negative things. So the first point on my list today is the status of foreigners in China. Now, I would say, compared to many other foreigners, I am actually very well integrated into the life in China. I speak the language. I have been here for many years. I've been doing business here. I have a lot of Chinese friends. I understand their culture, their habits, and so on. But nonetheless, on many occasions, we are still reminded that we are actually foreigners in this country. So no matter how well you're integrated into society, no matter how good your Chinese is, no matter how long you have been here, if you don't have the Chinese citizenship, if you don't have the Chinese 身份证, there's a lot of things that you cannot actually do or which are much more difficult for you to do. For example, the lack of a Chinese ID for foreigners here in China means that we're basically not able to get any kinds of loan because we are also not in the credit system. We don't have any credit here. So while Chinese people abroad, actually, if they have a stable job and a good credit score, they can as well apply for loans from the bank. But foreigners in China cannot. Another important, not so nice point about life in China is mostly for Chinese people, a little bit for foreigners also, but it's the social pressure, the uniformity of the society, of the people. There are actually a lot of rules you have to follow, a lot of things you have to do that are expected from society just because it's normal, just because it's what everybody does. For example, for life choices, there's a very clear path on how you should or are supposed to live your life, like have good grades, go to a good university, then get a nice government job, get a loan, buy a house, things like that. And while we have these things too in Western countries, here's a lot more details involved. For example, your social status will decide what kind of car you can drive, what kind of clothes you can wear, or what kind of husband or wife you're supposed to get. And also, there's a lot to say by the family. Your family actually has a big vote in who you can marry, who's acceptable, who's not, what kind of major you can study, what kind of work you're supposed to do, where you can work and where not. So there's a lot of these rules, regulations and expectations that make life in China just so much more complicated. Wow, what a nice new park. Now they're setting up these smart service stations everywhere throughout the city, which is also like a very nice public restroom. This one's vacant, occupied. There's air conditioning in here. Really nice, really clean. And they even have some kind of displays here. So yeah, that's how the new version of Chinese public bathrooms look like. Now let's get to the third point, which is probably also the one having the most or the biggest impact on foreigners' lives in China, namely the state of bubble-ishness, so to say, here in China. In many aspects, life in China is like a bubble. Once you enter that bubble, you feel kind of comfortable, you know? You don't get so many annoying news messages from the outside world, from other countries. So you just sit inside your bubble, you feel kind of comfortable, kind of good, but in the same time, you miss the interaction with the outside world. That is, of course, due to the fact that a lot of foreign apps, programs, platforms, whatsoever are banned here in China. You cannot just normally access them, like Google, like YouTube, like Facebook, Instagram. All these kind of things are banned in China. Now, there is a way, obviously, as you can see, to access these things, but it just makes it a lot more difficult, a lot more complicated, sometimes even expensive to access these things, to keep in touch actually with your friends, with your families, and also to kind of know what is going on outside of China, in the rest of the world. Now, this state or this effect has actually been intensified or accelerated by the COVID pandemic. Right now, there's really few Chinese people going abroad for travel, for studies, for work, for whatever. And there's even less foreigners coming and returning, or just coming into China right now. Oh, they just built a random tunnel in here. Okay, not bad. So currently there's really a little international exchange and even less information, even less ideas get into the country. And this state of bubble-ishness, this state of living in a bubble, not having any contact or any chance to get in touch with information or news or whatever, ideas from abroad, has actually been intensified. Well, and obviously foreigners who come to work or to live in China are the ones who are actually interested in what's going on back home, what's going on in other countries. Of course, it's the more international people. The ones who are probably not so interested in these kind of topics, they will never have the idea to come to China or go to any other country for work. So yeah, this is Mark's collection of not so pleasant things about life here in China. I want to know, what do you think about that? Do you agree with my points? Do you think something else is actually more important and deserves to be said? If so, then of course, you're more than welcome to comment in the comment section below. If you agree with my opinion, if you liked today's content, then don't be shy, leave a like under my video. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more interesting videos from China and the rest of the world. Now it's time to end today's video. So I want to thank you all for watching and see y'all in the next video.